Hey guys, this is going to be your lesson for two-step equation word problems. I know we've been doing two-step equations for a little while now, but now we got to start looking at them with word problem or in word problem form. So on this very first one, just for the example, this is a new one-year membership at Roswell Tennis Center costs $160. A registration fee of $28 is paid upfront, and the rest is paid monthly. How much do new members pay each month? So things that we're going to look at first. So part A says, what is the important information we need to answer the question? Well, we're trying to figure out how much new members are going to pay each month. Actually, that's what I want you guys to look at first, is actually what the question is asking. So we want to know how much new members are going to pay each month. So more of the important information that we need to look at is that the cost is going to be $160, okay? So I'm going to put that under here. So our cost is $160. I'm using my little pen again, and it's not that great today. And this is our total cost, okay? In fact, I need to include that on here, total cost. I'm going to have to zoom in so I can clean up this handwriting a lot. Sorry, guys. So the total cost is $160. Well, the registration fee is the next important part. That registration fee, oh, I hate it when I use the wrong highlighter. There we go. A registration fee is $28, so I'm going to mark that as well. So that's what we have to pay up front. So registration, I really need to just use my finger again because this is ridiculous. They keep telling me I'm going to get an Apple Pen. Registration fee is $28. That happens one time. And then they're going to pay each month. So what the next part is, well, this is for a one-year membership, we are talking about 12 months. So just things to keep in mind. Part B says, what will represent your variable? Well, we're trying to figure out what we want to know is how much they pay each month. So that's our variable, the amount that we're going to pay, amount to pay. Because that's what our question is actually asking. I know that looks like an X, that's supposed to be a Y. Alright, so now we're going to start forming our equation. This is the important part. Right off the bat, they told us that our total is going to be $160. We know our registration fee, that only happens one time. So there's no variable with that. We pay that $28. That is a terrible looking 28. I'm so sorry, guys. Anyways, our registration fee happens one time. And now we need to look at our monthly cost. Well, we already know that there are going to be 12 months in a year, right? So 12 months. And our question is, we want to know how much we pay every month. So I'm going to use, I don't know, I could use a dollar sign if I wanted to for my variable. That's really tempting. But I'm going to use M for money. But that's a terrible idea because I don't want to get that mixed up with months. So I am going to use a dollar sign. Change my mind. This is going to be our variable this time around. Because it's not $12. It's how much we are going to pay every month. I'm going to put a little triangle around that just so we know that that's a symbol. Yes, I know it looks like the Illuminati. Get over it. So it's $28 for the fee up front. And we want to know how much money we are going to pay every month. There are 12 months in a year because that's our cost per year. And we know that we're going to have a total of $160 when we get finished. So now I'm going to just kind of work out the equation. I'm going to work it out right there and we'll kind of solve it together on D. So we're going to do $28 for our fee, plus how much we're going to pay every month. And instead of that weird symbol, I'm just going to use an X. X is representing how much we pay every month because I needed to clean that up a lot. And then we said $160 total. So this equals $160. So I'm going to draw my line like I always do. I always start on the number without the variable. So I'm going to do minus 28 and minus 28. My minus didn't show up. These two cancel out. I'm now left with 12x over here. And 160 minus 28, that's practically 30, so 132, I believe. I should probably double check that. And now we're to the last step. That's multiplication right there, so we're going to have to do division to undo it. So what I end up doing is I divide both sides, because I want that x cold and alone by itself, nothing else there. Divide both sides by 12, so I am left with just x. I have x over here, and I'm going to cheat and use a calculator. I've got 132, and I'm going to divide that by 12, and I get 11. So we are going to be paying $11 every month. So our final answer is $11. Going to run through a few more examples because honestly that was kind of a weird question, so we're going to hit a couple more. So number 2 says Jasmine's cell phone company charges her $35 a month, that should be a month, for phone services plus 50 cents for each text message. How many text messages does Jasmine send in a month if her bill was $52? So again, I'm going to kind of highlight important information on this one. So they're charging $35 a month just for the service, plus, good Lord, don't miss that plus 50 cents for each text message. Well, because it says that each right there, we know that that's going to repeat. It's going to be for every single text message she sends. Believe it or not, this is how it used to be, guys. They used to charge by the text message. And then down here, they tell us the total for the bill. The total for the bill is $52. So I'm going to write this a little bit backwards just because it makes more sense in my head. I know that my total is going to be $52. Like, that's what my bill is going to equal when I get done. I know that I'm getting charged that $35 every single month. Okay? Now I've got to worry about my text messages. So I've got plus. Well, now I've got my text messages to worry about. My text messages, they tell me it's going to cost 50 cents, but that's for every single text. So this time around, I'm going to use a T for text. So I can multiply the number of texts that I get, or send, or text, or whatever, times 50 cents. That would be my total there. Plus my $35 would give me a total of $52 for my bill. Now the fun part, I've got to actually solve this darn thing. So I'm going to actually use what I've got written up here already just to make my life a little bit easier this time around. So, draw my line. I've got the 35 on the right side, the side with the variable. I'm going to subtract 35 on both sides. These two will cancel out. Now I've got to rewrite stuff. On the right side, I'm just left with my 50 cents and T, so 0.5 and T. I'm going to throw an extra 0 in front of that just so I don't lose it. And then I've got to do 52 minus 35, 17. Final step. This is multiplication here. I'm going to have to divide. So I divide this side by 0.50 and this side by 0.50. If my pen will work. Like I said, use a calculator. You've got them. There's no reason not to. So I'm going to divide 17 by 50 cents, which is 34. I know we got a bigger number. Do not let that throw you. Pardon the bell. So I've got T equals 34. We sent 34 text messages at 50 cents a piece. And you can always plug that back in to double check your answer. I'm going to knock out a couple more, and then you guys will be on your own for the rest. So number 5. The bill for the repair of a computer was $179. The cost for repairs was $44, and labor charge was $45 per hour. How many hours did it take to repair the computer? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my important information. The cost was $179. In fact, I'm going to go and start writing down my equation. That is my total. So I've got my $179, and I know that's going to equal whatever I talk about in the rest of the problem. The cost of the parts was $44. Well, the cost of the parts, I only pay for those parts one time. So I'm going to go ahead and write my 44 here because I don't need a variable to show any more parts. I've got my total. I'm done with that. Okay. Then it says, and labor charge was $45. So $45, I'm going to highlight that if I can make this pen work, per hour. Every hour that we work on that thing, it's going to be $45. So what I'm going to do is I've got my $45 here, but I don't know how long it took. So that is going to be my variable. And now I'm just going to solve the equation. Draw my line like I always do. First thing I'm going to do, let me get this to move up a little bit. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 44 from both sides because I'm trying to get everything away from that variable. So minus 44 on both sides. 179 minus 44 is 135. And now I'm on the right side, I'm going to be left with my 45x. This part's multiplication, so I'm going to undo it with division. So I divide this side and this side both by 45. These two cancel out. Over here, I'm going to do 135, and I'm going to divide it by 45, and I'm going to have 3. And that's going to equal my variable, which means after 3 hours, I'm going to get charged $45 every hour for 3 hours, plus the $44 for parts, and that's going to be my total of $179. Changing my mind, I am going to talk about 2 more because I know I'll have to otherwise. So if we take a look at number 8, The sum of the measures of all angles of a triangle are 180 degrees. There's my total right there off the bat. So I'm going to highlight this, 180 degrees, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a triangle. So I got my 180 degrees. It says if one of the angles measures 45 degrees, so we're talking about one angle. There is 40, nuts. I didn't highlight it, but if one angle is 45 degrees, and we've got two other angles that are equal, well, I've got to add those other two angles to get up to 180. Well, there are two of those angles, and I don't know what they are. So there's my equation. So now I've got to solve this thing. Draw my line going down the middle, and I've got to get everything away from the variable. So I subtract 45 on both sides. Just like always, these two cancel each other out. I'm left with 2x on the other side, and I'm going to do 180 minus 45, and I'm going to have 135. That does not look like a 3. Final step, I got to divide both sides by 2, because I'm trying to get everything away from that variable. So divide this side by 2, divide this side by 2. These two cancel out. Sorry, I'm getting a little sloppy here. And we know that x is going to be 135 divided by 2, and it's going to be 67.5. Hope you guys can read that okay. Last one, and then you guys are doing the rest on your own. I mostly want to talk about this one because the wording is strange on it. It says Ronaldo scored 4 goals in his first soccer game. He then scored the same amount of goals in his next 3 games. It's not 4 goals for this part. Like, this sentence right here is extremely confusing. The same amount is like, it's going to be X. We don't know how many. So he scored X amount of goals in the next 3 games. If Ronaldo has 10 goals total, how many goals did he score in each? So my 10 goals total is my answer. So I've got 10, and I'm going to set that equal to, well, we know he had 4 goals from his first game. And then the second game, I'm sorry, not the second game, but the next 3 games he scored the same amount. So here's my same amount. We can call that X now. And that was for 3 games. I'm going to I could put the 3 after that X, but it bugs me, so I'm going to have it in front of the X, just personal preference. If you had it after, it's not that big a deal. So now I'm going to draw my line down the middle. I want to get everything away from the X, so I'm going to subtract 4 on both sides. Except my pen's dragging my iPad instead of actually writing. On the right side, I'm left with 3x. On the left side, I'm left with 6 equals. Final step, I'm going to divide both sides by 3 to get it away from the variable. By 3 and by 3. These two cancel out. I'm left with x here. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. So he scored he scored 2 points for those other 3 games, and I can even double check it real quick. So I'm just going to kind of write the situation out here just so you guys know what I'm talking about. So he scored 2 points for 3 different games. In that very first game, he scored 4 points. Well, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 4 is 10. That was our answer. That's what we're looking for on that one. The rest of these you guys are going to do on your own. If you have any questions, please let me know.